Welcome to the Brain Factor Podcast with Joy and Laura, powered by Meridian Healthcare, approaching wellness with heart, one life at a time, one community at a time. This is a science-based conversation about real life. Our goal? To leave you with a few nuggets of wisdom, smile on your face, and maybe even a laugh or two. So let's jump in. Welcome to the Brain Factor. We're so glad that you joined us again today. We're always grateful for all of our listeners and people that view us as well on Facebook and elsewhere. So thank you so much. I have a special guest with me today. This is Stephanie Esposito. And Stephanie is kind of I know she probably will be like, what? But she's kind of a master at self-care and commitment and discipline and a lot of things like that. So I wanted to have her on today. So I've known Stephanie for a number of years. And when the pandemic hit and a lot of us were kind of crashing and stressed out, she really was able to transform her life through her commitment, through a lot. She's actually a living, breathing example of the protective factors that we talk about all the time on this podcast. She committed to physical activity and connecting with nature and kindness and self-care and compassion and a bunch of other things. And it's taken her so far and really flipped a lot in her life for her. So we wanted to have her on today. And This is Stephanie.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. And I've enjoyed getting to know you all these years. Yeah. It's been nice.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened for you?
Well, the pandemic
happened. Yes.
That happened. I mean, as you know, I am an extreme extrovert. Mm-hmm. Put me in a crowd and I will talk. But I noticed the moment the world shut down, all of that was taken away. Mm-hmm. And it really made me start thinking, okay, what can I control? What can I do to still get the fix of interaction and happiness and all of that without getting to see people? And it was really through fitness and nature that started to fill the void. And actually, I had just gotten a treadmill before everyone was getting treadmills, luckily. And I noticed that I had a free subscription to this program called iFit, where they said, we have these live classes. And I thought, okay, let me start running. Who would have thought?
So that's what started you running.
Because I thought, well, I could do these classes that are live where I would get to interact with people and feel good after. Mm-hmm. Sign me up. And that's really what sparked the interest in running.
Yeah.
And fitness. And, a lot of times they would do these recorded classes that exposed me to other parts of the world outdoors. Mm-hmm. And it was nice.
That is really nice. So I know there's like cycles that people go through when forming new habits, and there's all kinds of theories and everything on it. But I think at its core, it's like motivation and discipline. Mm-hmm. Motivation and discipline. Because we all get really revved up and we're like, I'm going to do this thing. Yeah. But, it ends up that you need discipline to carry that, because motivation waxes and wanes. You get motivated, you're not motivated. You have to build a routine and be disciplined. So when you wake up in the morning and you're like, I don't want to work out today, but you have to get up and do that anyway, just like work. You have to go to work. I don't wake up every single morning going, yay, I get to work. Yeah. Amazing job, amazing career, amazing life, but it's not, I'm not sitting on a beach.
No, I would rather. Yeah, there are days that, now that I'm really involved in CrossFit also, that I get up and I think, gosh, my legs hurt. The last thing I want to do is go running or go to a CrossFit class. And for me, the motivation is, yes, you can. Because I know after, I am going to feel so good. Yeah. And that's just going to kickstart my day to help ensure that the day is positive. And, I'd rather start early, get that good feeling in, so then it carries me through the day instead of not staying on track. And then regretting it after, because then,
That
you know,
regret
I
is
drive
brutal.
to work and I sit in traffic, and then I think, oh gosh, if I just got that run in, or I just got that class in, I would have felt so much better. So might as well stay on track and know that I can do this, and maybe I don't have to go 100%. But as long as I get myself up and get myself moving, that's really a good start.
So how do you deal with backsliding? Do you backslide, or are you like some anomaly that never backslides?
Yeah, I wish. I wish I never would backslide. But especially like training for a marathon and then deciding to do it again.
That was surprising to me when you said you were doing a second one.
Yes, because then I decided after I finished the first one, ooh, I like crossing that finish line. Can I do it again, and can I beat my time? Why not? But I did face backsliding. So I started thinking, what can I do to avoid that or manage it? And I realized, at least with the running, accountability. I started signing friends up. I joined run groups, and when I had a long run, I would call up a couple of friends. Hey, do you plan on running today? If so, can you run 5 miles with me? So I have someone to talk to, and because they were waiting for me, it helped bring me back.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm really motivated by rewards of delicious food, or knowing that after I can take a nap for 2 hours, great, I'm in. So sometimes I would plan runs around, I'm going to do these 6 miles, and I will finish at this farmer's market, where I can explore all of the treats and, buy
Eat
that coffee.
whatever I want.
Yes, because I just burned so many calories. That was a helpful driver. That would bring me back. And it still goes back to like the knowing how good I'm going to feel.
Yeah, you said something so critical in all of those things you said. You said a lot, but you said something extremely critical. Was you said to manage the backsliding. So I think a lot of us try to avoid instead of managing.
Absolutely. And I think it's impossible to avoid.
Yeah.
Life happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes work gets in the way, or sometimes, a family member needs to be picked up and taken somewhere. And so you can't get in that run as far as you would like to go. And that's okay. Factor in it's not always going to work out. And then maybe say, I can't do the 7 miles today, but I can do 2 with the time that I have available. And that's fine. Give yourself some grace. It's okay.
Yeah, because I would probably go, I was supposed to do 7 miles and I can only fit in 2, so I failed.
And you didn't. You have to look at it differently. You got in the 2, and that's 2 more than a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. It is.
And that's perfect. And I know when I was training for this marathon, I did say, okay, I have this many months to prepare. This is how many miles I need to get in per week, per month. And that was giving myself some grace, knowing that per day, I'm not going to be able to get in all these miles because I have a job, I have my husband, I have a dog, we have things going on. But if I can squeeze in 14 miles this week, however, that's great. I will get one step closer to being prepared for the actual race.
Yeah, that takes a lot of mental resilience, stickability. I mean, does your mind ever turn on you and try to talk you out of it?
Yes. Yeah, it does, especially when my legs are sore. But I go back to it's okay. For instance, I did a run last night, and it was only 2 miles, and I didn't go as fast as I kind of wanted to initially, but then I reminded myself, that's fine. You were out there. You got to see your friends. You got a run in, and you finished. That's fine.
I never thought I'd see the day you'd be a runner.
Yeah, same. Because I definitely enjoy sitting. Here we are. And I love it. I love the finish line. I love, even if it's just a 2-mile run last night, crossing the finish line with a group of people and that sense of accomplishment after, I then think, bring it on, world. I'm ready because I know I can do it. And I just tell myself over and over, yes, you can.
Do you ever since you love the finish line so much, do you ever make fake finish lines?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm writing this, whatever it is, if I made it around the block, this is a finish line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, this 2-mile run last night, it's not a race, it's a fun run. But there is a finish when I get to stop. And I am
Do you
grateful
run through with
I
your
do.
arms up?
Yeah, I do. And I usually have headphones on, so I'm jamming out to some classic hip hop. And I cross the finish line like thousands of people are watching my pretend finish line, which is just a stop sign. And I mean, I celebrate it every time because I did it. And so many people can't even do that. And it's such a sense of accomplishment to know that I can.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, I love, love, love that you're able to celebrate so much and reward. And I think it's really valuable the way that you're implementing rewards because you're building them into the activity instead of, I might do something like if I'm going to give myself a reward, I'm going to change what I'm doing now, but it would be something later, like maybe I was going to go buy something or maybe I was going to, take some time to do something that I wouldn't normally do. But you're saying build it in.
Yeah.
Your reward is at the end. Like there's a pitcher of lemonade waiting for you.
Yeah, I think for me at least, that is helpful. Even if it's sometimes I have something in my shopping cart in Amazon. I mean, we live in a land of instant gratification.
Yes, we do.
I also am so into CrossFit, and one of my goals for 2024 was at least 15 classes per month.
Yeah.
So I found that when I would hit that 15, I also had something in my Amazon shopping cart and would press
the button.
buy.
Yeah.
And so that was a helpful motivator, not the be all end all, but a nice reward. It's like, oh, okay, I can get these new shoes at the end. Yeah. Great. That's fun. Makes me want to do it.
I didn't think about that. Just having something that you've been wanting sitting in your shopping cart as well. Yeah, that would be cool. And I don't know, for those of you who maybe don't work out regularly, I do. 15 a month commitment for 12 months is a really big goal. It doesn't sound like when you say, oh, I'm going to go 15 times in a month, it doesn't really sound too much. Like when you said it, I was like, oh, that's not bad. And then I thought about it. I'm like, oh, I have done that at times. That's really hard. That's getting there every other day.
Pretty much. I mean, when I said, okay, I'll just do it for January. And then I did it. And so then I thought, oh, that wasn't terrible. Because I did look at a calendar. I looked at the calendar and I thought, okay, I need to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to aim for 4 days a week. And great. I built in some leeway of like, well, if I didn't sleep that well the night before, I have extra at the end. Or, well, if I didn't, if life got in the way, I did some traveling, I built in I can go at 5 o'clock in the evening instead of in the morning. So there were options. And after I saw, oh, well, I did that in January, let me try for the rest of the year. And with knowing that I can build in the leeway and I can schedule myself out, which meant actually using the calendar, a paper calendar I would write down, gym. It made it much more manageable.
Yeah. I have that calendar paper one too where I write gym, and then I cross it out.
No, you have to check it off.
Check it off. Okay.
The check off is great.
Check it off.
Well, what
Stick
I love
to it.
about my gym too is they have a chalkboard where people can write their name and start doing the little marks. So after every class, I walk on over. I said, did it. Yeah. So I could see I was getting closer and closer to the 15.
And everybody else could see as well.
Yeah, and they, motivate you, congratulate you, and it's nice.
Yeah, that is nice, and that is a nice physical marker, but the real hard work is getting there.
Yes.
When nobody's looking. Yes. How you're treating yourself.
Yeah, and that's always when I remind myself, yes, you can. You can do this. And that's what gets me up.
Yeah. I know that you connect with nature a lot too. How has that impacted your mental life. There's so much on grounding, and not the grounding techniques we've talked about before, but the grounding in nature, like taking your shoes off and connecting the energies of the earth to your body. And I know you do that paddle boarding and camping. And how does that happen? How does that work? Do you feel like that's just something enjoyable, or is it something that's built into your self-care?
Well, I noticed, again, going back to 2020 and being forced to have that opportunity to reflect and question, like, what makes me happy? It is nature. The moment I go outside and just take a simple walk, even if it's through the neighborhood and I see a beautiful tree, I think, everything's okay. Mm-hmm. And I take that deep breath that everyone needs to take every day, of just a relaxing breath, and I get that fix. And I get that. I noticed through running when I was training, a lot of that has to be outside, because a treadmill is tough when you need 17 miles.
Well, because you can hop off at any moment.
Yeah, and you're in the same spot. So getting outside and planning the runs where I would get to see the trees and see the beautiful flowers just is inspiring and so relaxing. Oftentimes, my husband would point out I make a little noise of, because I'm just so happy.
Oh, that's so sweet.
He's like, oh, you made the noise. You're in a good place.
Oh, okay. I'll come near you now.
Yeah.
What's the noise that makes them go in the other direction?
And oftentimes when we do the camping and, we'll take walks in the evening, it also sparks conversation, and just being out in nature with the person you enjoy being around, and that conversation with no cell phones, no interruptions. It's really nice.
Yeah. As that helps with your positive self-talk and just feeling good, and
it's all those endorphins are just pumping.
Yes, that's the thing that I love so much. Like I said, I'm like, I don't want to go, and then I go, and then all the endorphins are flowing, and just everything is so much better. I moved my muscles, and I don't go outside much, though. I kind of have an agreement with the bugs. If they stay out of my house, I will stay out of like their area.
You go onto your screened-in patio, getting the fix with a layer of protection.
Just a layer of protection.
But I do find too, going to endorphins is, if you join a gym and you surround yourself with people who are also exercising,
like-minded.
Everyone has those endorphins pumping.
Yeah.
So everyone at the same moment is so happy. It's addicting. You want to be around that. And that's another driver for me, is getting up at the crack of dawn and going to a gym or taking a run. I am surrounding myself with people who have made that choice too. And they get that same high. Mm-hmm. So by default, you're going to have a great experience.
Yeah. What would you tell people who are just wanting to start doing something to help their, mental, maybe they're feeling down or have a lot of stress at work, or I know at work, if I get stress, I'll just maybe get up and do some squats or push-ups or something like that.
Yeah.
Like if someone wanted to be as committed as you, what would be their first steps? What do you think, what would you recommend they do?
Well, the first answer is what I say all the time. Yes, you can. Yeah. If you think I can't, yes, you can. Mm-hmm. Because starting just means saying, I'm going to, and put on those shoes and start walking.
Yeah.
And schedule yourself out. Don't overcommit, because some folks, they have their New Year, New You resolution, which, as you've talked about on past podcasts, that's a very tricky subject.
You're making my heart beat. I'm fluttering over here. It is. Because, it's bad.
You're very much committing, and sometimes over-committing to goals. Start small. Yeah. I think when I first started running with the iFit on the treadmill, I did a 10-minute class. And it wasn't even running. It was walking, where I realized, I don't have the right shoes. And, you start realizing, okay, the 10 minutes felt good. Mm-hmm. I can do this again. And then you look at your calendar and you think, okay, I could do this again in 3 days. That's when I'm available again. And you commit yourself to it. That's it. Yeah. Being out in nature and taking a walk, taking a run it's easy to get started. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to commit to when you do it realistically.
Yeah. Well, you went into this intentionally looking to impact your mental health, didn't you?
I did. I was very sad when the world shut down because so many things that I enjoy doing of being around people were taken away. So I very much intentionally went in knowing that this makes me feel happy. Let's do more of that.
Yeah. Does it make other parts of your life better, like your marriage, your job, your
Absolutely.
Everything?
Yeah, I mean, I find that after I get a great workout in and I go and face the workday, if there's a meeting that maybe I get surprise questions, I find that because I'm in a good energy place, I can handle the feedback better and think through my response because things are a little clearer because I didn't just wake up and rush to work. Or, I slept so well because I was pretty tired from exercising that I feel good.
So if I wanted to, kind of give some people some actionable takeaways, we would say maybe start with some micro goals, some small goals. I know sometimes when I'm struggling, like right now, I have a shoulder injury. So I'm working with an orthopedic surgeon waiting to see if I'm going to need surgery or PT or what. So there's a lot I found that limits me in exercising. So I've had to go to my Peloton, which I bought, which I almost never use, but when the pandemic came, I think I was in the process of buying one. I got lucky in the first round of people, so I actually got one, but I don't love doing that, although Peloton's great. I would rather be going to the gym or lifting weights. I love lifting weights. I don't love anything else about physical activity. It's just that. So I try to commit to like 5 minutes. I'll do it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick a 5-minute class because they have little wide. Yeah. And then after the 5 minutes, or if I have to get on a treadmill, I'll do 5 minutes. But at the end of the 5 minutes, your body's starting to work. You're starting to feel those benefits of that physical activity. And sometimes I would get on a treadmill and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do 5 minutes. An hour later, I'm running, still going, listening to my Eminem. Because, I do also, actually, I say Eminem, I'm a big fan. But the song that he has, like, if you only had one shot, that for your opportunity, would you take it? And that's kind of my motivation song. Like when I can't get going on whatever it is, I'll put headphones on and play that in my head. Judge me if you will. I love Eminem. Hey. But, what if I only had one shot? What if this was my last shot to be able to do something? I don't know what's going to happen with my shoulder. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to take the shot that I have. But and I think a theme song like Rocky or whatever it is, your 90s hip hop or whatever you really like that motivates you, that it inspires you to put that on, and you'll see it will flip your mindset just 100%. Doing that one little thing. Like you don't even have to be moving. You could be sitting in the chair and the next thing you know, you're like, because it's my favorite jam or whatever.
Yes, or even this one run app, I can't remember which one. There's so many to choose from. But so I was testing out some, and this one I enjoyed because every mile it gave you some positive reinforcement. And this one comment was, "You run like a gazelle," and I thought, yes, I do.
I like that.
I am so short. I don't know if I look like a gazelle, but thank you.
Yeah.
I will keep going. It was really nice to hear.
Yeah.
So sometimes that positive reinforcement is nice to incorporate into your music.
And for your overall mental health, taking breaks, whether they're nature breaks or some other kind of break, something you enjoy, because that's something you can work in right in the middle of your day. Yeah,
and I have found like the Calm app is really helpful. I think they have a free version. I know that I used the free version where it was like 10 minutes a day. It was that's a really nice break. And I think Apple Fitness, my husband uses that sometimes. They'll do 10-minute exercises or stretching. That's really helpful.
Yeah, those are really great tips. Accountability buddies. buddies are good.
Yeah,
I know
they are.
my workout buddy, when I get slacky, she's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I get that. At
Yeah.
CrossFit, if I don't show up, they call, where are you? Are you okay? You haven't been here. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
But it's helpful because
Yeah.
it's your friends. They want to see you.
Yeah. And you know they're going to reach out. It's kind of
Yeah.
like work. It wouldn't be as nice, but if you just didn't bother to show up
yeah,
for
someone's
work.
going to wonder.
And this applies to anything, not just to working out.
Yeah.
I could, have a big project or something like that, and I could say, hey, Stephanie, can you shoot me a text,
Yeah.
every night and say, hey, what'd you accomplish? Or something like that. You can have buddies. You can have micro goals. You can have any of that to deal with anything.
Yeah. And
Not just working out. This is just a great example of, how Stephanie did all of this.
And then, something during the pandemic that has stayed with me too is sometimes if I'm looking for someone to help me, I reach out to them and I'll say, hey, how are you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while, just through a text. I'm not the biggest on phone calling all the time, but it is nice to hear back from that person and they say, I'm well, how are you? And I'm like, okay, here's someone I can talk to because it's nice to have that interaction. And
And when you're texting, everybody says, oh, I'm well, how are
Yeah,
you? So
yeah.
even if it's not real, you
it's
can get a little
helpful.
boost.
It's helpful.
Yeah. That falls into, I think anyway, like the NASM, their sports management, the exercise people that certify personal trainers, they have in their cycle of how these things happen. When you get into maintenance, that's where your or action and you're reaching out to other people to help you, because you start contemplation, you get action, and then your motivation, you get your relapse at the end. I didn't do exactly their steps, but that's type of the,
Which makes sense.
And then if you relapse and you relapse enough, I'm not talking about, I just didn't go to the gym one day, but you relapse, you backslide, and then you go right back to the very beginning of pre-contemplation when you're like, oh, okay, I have to think about this. Am I going to do this? And then, okay, I'm going to do this. And then you have to take action and do it.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's manageable.
It is, yeah, it's definitely manageable. So is there anything else that you want to tell our listeners or watchers today?
Definitely what I've been saying throughout. You can do it. And don't question it. Just try it.
Yeah. And you have why written on your paper here.
Oh, yes. Always think about your why.
Yeah.
And, I think that's important. And sometimes even when I'm wondering, why am I still doing this? For me, it's the benefit of the health and the happiness and the friends I've made. That's really important, how much I want to see life for as long as possible, and maintaining my mental and physical health is going to help me get there.
Yeah. It's funny because mine is a little bit similar. I just did a little nutrition challenge with a dietitian that I know. She was doing it at the beginning of January. It was like 7 days. But the first thing we had to do was put our why there. And I think my why said something very similar to, I want to be as healthy as I possibly can for as long as I can to spend time with my family, travel, and enjoy my life and squeeze every ounce of everything I can out of this body.
Heck yeah.
So,
That's a win right there. That's a why.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Stephanie, thank you. You've been on 2 episodes now,
and I loved
that's so much fun. Maybe we'll have you again.
Happy to.
Yeah. Be well.
Thanks for listening to The Brain Factor. Joy and I are so thrilled to be having these needed conversations. We'd love to hear your feedback on this episode, so if you could drop a comment or leave a review with your thoughts or any requests that you may have, it would be appreciated. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Living a healthier and happier life starts with one step, and we're excited to be on this journey with you. Until next time.